Good evening, good evening. It's been a little while since we've had a news video, mostly because Jasco's been pretty silent in December. Outside of the ban announcement a couple weeks back, we hadn't really heard anything from them until yesterday, when they finally decided to come out of hiding and start giving us some information about things. So, we've got a lot to cover because, as this goes, these things tend to Jasco does these things in spurts and then kind of disappears for a little while. And here we are again. So, first things first, the Hero League Championship prize breakdown was sent out to the players. It is distressingly top-heavy. It is extremely, extremely top-heavy. Even more so than most people thought was like the worst-case scenario. The winner of the event is going to get half the prize pool. They're going to get $125,000. The second place player will get $45,000. Third and fourth get $14,000, and then it's 5, 2, and 1 for top 8, top 16, top 32. So, what they're going with, that clearly they're trying to maximize this biggest number for whatever they think there's going to be some marketing value to it or something. Maybe it's some kind of a record. Maybe they did some research and found that, this would be the biggest card game prize ever or something like that. It could be. It feels like it could be. So it'll be certainly extra cool for whoever does win, and for the second place person. Pretty much everybody else is going to be worse off than they would have been with a more balanced prize breakdown, but, it is what it is. Hopefully whatever marketing they get out of this pays off. And doesn't just kind of go nowhere and fall flat, or just like, get a bunch of eyeballs, but doesn't actually translate to players. So we'll see. Kind of rough, and between this and the tournament structure is pretty anti-player pro spectacle, basically. So hopefully it provides the value that they think it's going to add, right? In other news for the everybody else. Kind of some odds and ends before we get to the HLC side events, which was kind of the biggest news. First of all, we got a little bit of just chatting in the Discord. There's kind of a soft confirmation that there are going to be set 4 previews. There's like 5 crazy people who think it would be a good idea to not show any set 4 League of Villains. It's easier to call it less syllables, I understand that, but Jasco hasn't named the set yet. So I'm trying to call it League of Villains when I can. But there will be some previews for the League of Villains set before the HLC premiere event, because it's just better. It's just better to have people talking about your cards for a month than to show them the set all at once, and people are pretty much only going to pay attention to the 10 most busted cards, right? And everything else is just going to not... You're going to miss the chance to get those cards some attention and some chatter, right? So that will happen. It will be, a shorter time frame than the Heroes Clash previews were, which that preview season was 6, 7, 8 weeks or something like that. So this one will probably be 4 or 5 weeks, which means it should start soon, but we've been saying that for a while now, so who knows. Also, in the background, some more solicitations went out from Asmodee. These were for the pre-release kits, if those didn't go out already, as well as for the tournament kits, the Plus Ultra kits. And the Plus Ultra kit, it's like a picture of a poster that has pictures of cards. So there's no conceivable way we're going to make out the text on any of those cards. I know people tried with some of the other ones. That's not going to happen this time. But what we did see was there's a Magni Plus Ultra promo, so that means she will not be in the set. So as Magni and Mr. Compress both confirmed not in the set itself. I believe other solicitations had the set at 8 characters. So if they're all villains, you can pretty much guess at what 8 they are. There's like 9 possibilities or something like that. If there are some heroes in there, then who knows, all bets are off, right? Other quiet news, they added a player to the suspended players list. I'm not going to go into names or details or anything like that. Jasco kind of does this hush-hush because, it's not good to shine a big light on these things. But if you're curious, I'll put a link in the description. You can, see what that list looks like now. And if you know why, you'll know why. If you don't worry about it, honestly. And on to the bigger news, the they announced the full slate of the HLC side events. Aside from the League of Villains premiere event on Friday, there are going to be 2 events each on Saturday and Sunday for people that are not participating in the HLC tournament itself and or get knocked out of it. And all of these events are going to award tickets based on your performance. So if you win a Swiss round, you get 30 tickets. You get 30 tickets for entering. You get 10 for a draw. And there's going to be some sort of prize wall that you spend these tickets on. They didn't fully show everything that's going to be on this prize wall. They did hint that some old promos like the old RLE promos from this year, like that Instant Explosive release, are going to be available. They showed a Midnight, so maybe some like foil provisional cards are going to be available. They showed an Asui figure, a pretty nice looking one. So there's going to be some like odd merchandise like that, I guess. So it'll be interesting to see, what kind of stuff they cobble together for that. As for the schedule, Friday, of course, is the League of Villains premiere event. It's going to be some sort of seal tournament with the new set about a month before its actual pre-release. Then on Saturday in the morning, there's going to be a straight-up MHA only tournament, as well as a standard tournament in the afternoon. They're going to run back another standard event. Despite calling the last one a sunset event, it was very popular. So we're going to see if people want to play it at the HLC on the side. And we'll see how many signups that gets. I mean, people are going to be playing for the prize wall, so they might as well, right? Get your 30 for entering and take a shot with whatever you have. We'll see if they ban something related to the Twisting Azure Inferno Punch and Judy deck before that. They have some time before they can announce it. I think if you're planning to bring one of those decks, have a backup plan. They could announce these bans a week before, for all we know. I would not believe that deck's going to be legal until deck registration ends for that event. Anyway, on Sunday, they're going to do an MHA Pauper event. This is going to be some sort of commons, uncommons, starter exclusives only. They probably specified it in the post. I didn't think to see what exactly the list is, but it's going to be sort of a commons only type of format. And then Sunday afternoon, they're going to do Dragon Horde Sealed. And if you have no idea what that is, which most people don't, it's an event where you get a team of 3 people, and as a collective group, you all pay a box worth of entry fee, 24 packs worth of entry fee, because you're going to get 24 packs. As a team, you're going to reach into some sort of bag or some sort of randomization and get 24 packs of God knows what sets. Pretty much anything that Jasco has sitting in their warehouse is probably fair game here. You have no idea what you're going to get. You're just going to get this big pile of packs, and you're going to build 3 sad decks out of it. And just sort of have at it. It's purely a fun event. You get to see some cards that a lot of people have never seen before. Some people haven't seen in ages. You can put together some combinations that have never existed in the world. Lots of cool stuff. So there's been a couple of those events over the years. They've been pretty wild and popular and very fun. So hopefully people enjoy that. That rounds out the HLCs. That's 5 events for the non-participants if you want to go and play some games and watch the coverage while you're there. Should be a pretty packed weekend. Aside from that, there have been some community events announced, as well as another Jasco event that was just announced today. And we've got a pretty good schedule for January now. Although, one thing about the HLC side event announcement, the MHA only event was cited as the last event in the Heroes Clash format, which means they don't plan on having any significant constructed events in February. I'm sure there will still be weeklies and webcam weeklies, but it sounds like there won't be an online provisional or something of that scale. Maybe we can hold out hope for in-store provisionals or something, but it sounds like February is going to be kind of an empty month in terms of organized play, unfortunately. But we'll be on the verge of the next set release, so people will be looking forward to that. In the meantime, in January, first things first, they announced today on January 4th, that is the first Wednesday, they are going to be doing sort of an extra big webcam weekly. Anyone who goes undefeated, instead of getting a couple extra packs or something, is going to get a full box of Heroes Clash. First edition if they have them, unlimited if they run out. So, you enter that webcam weekly. I'm not sure what the entry fee is going to be, but if you go there, you go 3-0, or I guess 201, you'll get a box sent your way. You might have to go 3-0. You probably have to go 3-0. And at the same time, they're going to really they're going to stream it for the first time in a very long time. They're going to stream their webcam weekly. And there's going to be some manner of news that they're going to announce, and no idea what that's going to be. It's presumably going to be League of Villains related. It could be something as small as sort of announcing all the stuff that we already know from Asmodee. It could be some actual starter previews. It could be maybe something that's completely unrelated to the fourth set, and maybe it's maybe they have a license to talk about, a small license or something like that. I don't think they'd announce anything too significant on a stream like that, but yeah, we'll see. And then we get some community events. So the first weekend of January after the New Year, January 7th and 8th, Rochester CCG is going to be putting on a webcam tournament. This is going to be MHA format, Heroes Clash. Totally normal stuff in terms of the card legality. We're not doing anything weird with that this time. Mostly just trying to fill this hole where there hasn't really been any events in December, and not a whole lot on the schedule for January before the HLC. So it'll be a chance to play in a big webcam event. Entry fee details all be linked in the description. There's a premium tier entry fee where you get a box of Heroes Clash just for entering, as well as the extra credit pack. It has those promos that range from like $10 to $90 in value in those guys. So a pretty good deal to enter in that event. Please check it out. Please consider signing up. Me and Kevin Broberg will be commentating. Since this is a Rochester CCG event, Sean and Jesse Servini will be running it. And depending on how many people we get, we may need to bring in some extra judges or whatnot. So check that out. Then the next weekend in South Carolina, in Somerville, South Carolina, the Final Round Game Shop is going to be having another standard event. This will be before the HLC one, so this will be the second standard event under this this sort of updated standard meta with 3 sets of MHA in it. And so that's going to be, sort of, he wants to have a cool standard event at his shop, and then on the Sunday he's going to do an MHA only charity event as well. So it'll be a nice little full mini weekend down in South Carolina, hanging out with Jacob Missouri and probably going to be a bunch of people making that trip. There's a bunch of people in driving distance of that, so that should be a pretty cool event, provided people can hash out the travel and whatnot. I know most of Rochester's planning to go. I would assume we'll get some people from Atlanta, Florida, that sort of thing. Virginia, some mid-Atlantic people. Yeah, that should be a good time. I recommend South Carolina events. I liked the last time I went down to Final Round Game Shop. That was one of the better events we've been to. And then, 2 weeks later, of course, is the Hero League Championship with all the events outlined above. And that's going to wrap up a nice slate of events in January, with kind of sandwiched between a pretty empty December and a pretty empty February from what it looks like. But that's all we got for now. This should be all of the news before Christmas, unless Jasco randomly decides to drop something tomorrow. I don't know if they're open tomorrow. I think most places are not open tomorrow. Tomorrow being December 23rd, the Friday before Christmas, and the day before Christmas Eve, which a lot of places are just, closed down because they do Christmas Eve off, and that's on a weekend this time. But if there's something tomorrow, then I'll just feel silly for not waiting until tomorrow to record this, but who knows? In the meantime, have a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. We'll presumably have another one of these before the new year. I will endeavor to have the next Iron Chef lined up at that time. So yeah, until then, have a good night.